All right, so welcome, guys. Thanks very, very much for having me. We're going to be dealing with your interview skills and your professional etiquette. So,
Sorry, Michelle, do you want to make it slide mode?
there we go.
There we go. Okay.
Obviously, interviews matter. I know at school it's a different story, and we do public speaking, etc. And when we get in front of classes, we're very nervous, and we don't think that we're actually going to need to use presentation skills after school, at varsity, etc. So we need to remember interviews are your first impressions, and it's got to do with adding in, telling a story, and it's got to absolutely fit. You want that job, you need to work for it. So remember, your interview, it's first impressions plus storytelling plus fit. Okay, what I'd like for you to do is you're going to rate yourself on each statement here from a level of 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. And I'll give you your results when we get to the end of the presentation. 1, I feel confident introducing myself in 10 seconds. 2, I can answer behavioral questions clearly and concisely. 3, I maintain professional etiquette in online and in-person settings. Sorry, before we continue, please put your answers to each of these 10 questions in the chat. Hang on to it so that you can see later in the presentation where you're faring with this and there's results. Okay, number 4. I am well prepared for interviews, company research, star stories, questions to ask. 5, I can handle tricky questions calmly and effectively. 6, I pay attention to nonverbal communication, gestures, posture, tone. 7, I practice active listening during conversations and interviews. 8, I can clearly articulate why I am excited about the role or opportunity. 9, I follow up professionally after interviews, and that's very important. And 10, I can adapt my approach for different interview styles or disciplines. So let's begin. You need to understand that when you are interviewed...
Sorry, Michelle.
Yeah.
We have a statement rather in the chat. Suddenly see we're saying, what are we doing? I'm so lost.
Okay.
So could you just quickly reiterate what we do?
We are dealing with interviews, as you can see. We're mastering your interview skills and professional etiquette. Okay. So what I'd like for you to do is you're going to answer these 10 questions. You're going to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. For each of these 10 questions, you are going to put your result into the chat for each of the 10 questions, and you're going to hold those results until the end of this presentation so that you can see what your results are. Are we all happy? So you must understand that when you are being interviewed, you've got about 7 to 10 seconds to create the connection with a person. Connecting with a person initially is so important, especially when you have an interview and they're going to look at eye contact, your posture, your smile. Smile goes a long way. Your tone in your voice. Are you dismissive? Are you disinterested? Are you excited to be in front of the interviewer? What clothing are you wearing? Are you neat, tidy? Is your hair brushed properly and is it out of your face? So these are just a few things that you need to remember when you first arrive at your interview, And these are the things that the interviewer is going to be looking at within those first few seconds. So these are just a few tips to get you going immediately so that, it's not a problem as you move further into the interview. You need to understand that the way we run interviews, it's changed a lot. It's not about interrogating you. Now, people want to know that they can connect with you. So yes, it's a connection test. They want to be able to connect with you, and they want to know that you're both on the same page. Employers will hire fit and attitude. It's not just about skills anymore. Preparation beats perfection. So if they can see that you have prepared, if they can see that you are up and coming and you are willing to work and assertive and you're positive, they don't want perfection. Nobody is perfect. We're never going to get perfection, so we better realize that and we better accept it. But if you start preparing, if you make sure that you're in that loop of moving forward and being proactive, then you're coming a long way. Are we okay so far? All on the same page? Do you have any questions so far? I'm unable to see the chat, so if there is anything in the chat, just please let me know, or just shout out as we go along. So basically, interviewers really look for things like the way you answer the questions, how confident you are, what you look like, your appearance. Are you clean? Are you shabby? Or are you very neatly put together? Do you smell good, but not too much deodorant or not too much perfume, that it irritates the nose? What is your attitude like? Are you positive? Are you bubbly? That goes a long way. But remember, we don't want somebody who's too bubbly. It's kind of a balance. All right, you need to make sure that even though you're a positive and actually quite a happy person, that you are realistic and you are not coming in with laughing and giggling and, for all intents and purposes, fake in order to just get your job and get through this interview, because then it's definitely going to make the interviewer say, I'm not sure. You sow doubt in the interviewer's mind, and we don't want to do that. So you're going to come in looking really good. You're going to wear beautiful clothes. You're going to have your hair tied back or brushed back neatly. Women, yes, you can put makeup on. Make sure it's natural and not too much makeup. We don't want somebody who looks fake. We want somebody who looks clean, tidy, somebody who wants to work. You're going to sit up straight, feet flat on the floor, shoulders down. If there's no desk in front of you, have your hands in your lap. Or even if there's a desk in front of you, have your hands in the lap and try and relax. Try and think of the answers that you need to respond to before you just open your mouth and give any answer that comes out. I always tell my clients that when somebody asks you a question, communication is a two-way street. So invariably what happens is person A is trying to package a message and it needs to get to person B. Person B has to decipher that code, that message. So in order to do that, you've got to take a little bit of time to be able to respond appropriately. So give yourself that moment. Think. Show the interviewer that you are listening attentively and that you are the person that is meant to be there. And once you have a decent answer in your mind, you can then respond. So we've got something called the interview prep rule. 3-to-1 interview prep rule. It works like this. Number 3, you need to know the company facts. 2, the reason we're excited. And number 1, it's got to be a smart question. Okay, so it's very quick and it's something that you can easily remember. Work on the facts of the company. Remember a couple of facts to impress. Why am I excited about being here? And why am I excited about wanting to work for this company? What is so special? And you need to ask a question that's pretty intelligent. Just one. Okay. If you have any questions, please stop me along the way. When it comes to your professional etiquette, please remember it's important. So you're looking at your representation. It comes out in your verbal expression, your non-verbal presentation, and obviously your image. So you need to have a positive, intelligent, clean representation of yourself and the way you're speaking and the way you look. I know there's so far quite a bit to take in, but it's kind of like a to do and what not to do when you are sitting in front of an interviewer. Obviously, you've got to sound reliable, and there must be reliability in aspects of your presentation. Because if you're not a reliable source, if you're not somebody who an interviewer feels that they can rely on, then again, you're going to sow doubt in the person's mind. You're not going to necessarily get that position that you've been wanting. You need to respect yourself. You need to respect the interviewer as well as the company. So it's not just about getting the money at the end of the month. You've got to show the person that this is the company that I find really interesting. I want to be here. I know some of the people. I want to work. I'm interested in what you're wanting me to do in the job. And I'm prepared to do what it takes in order to learn and develop and move forward. Okay. So just remember as well, when they look at you online, because let's be honest, they'll look at your CV, but they want to also see what's happening behind the scenes. So they'll look at your online stuff, whether it's professional or not. And invariably, you need to be very, very careful because they will notice things like the lighting, the posture, how you walk, your voice, your digital presence. Have you got a digital presence? I think there's a lot to this, and I think very often, I've had a lot of people that I've worked with where they literally have said to me, I put something on Facebook, they didn't like it, and therefore I did not get the position. Or there was something on TikTok, or there was something on whatever the portal may be. Please just make sure it's clean, it is professional. Is there a question coming through? Okay, are we all on the same page? Is everybody okay with this? If there are any questions, please stop me.
So, sorry, yeah. I see someone did ask a question saying, what do you mean with digital presence?
So when it comes to a digital presence, they look at things like Facebook. It's more digital, right? It's online. You're looking at Facebook, you're looking at TikTok. Maybe there might be something on X that you've put on, like a video, or video that you have shared or liked. You need to be careful with that.
Yeah, sorry, Michelle. I think a very good example would be how people who are running to be Miss SA. I remember the past couple of years, there was one of the contestants, they were able to pull up some racist remarks from her ex account, and she was disqualified. So that's what we mean when we say digital presence, guys.
Exactly. Thank you. That is 100% correct. That is exactly what I'm going for. Are there any other questions? Sorry, is there somebody asking a question there? Okay. All right. So, generally, once you have had your you've had your interview, and I'm not saying you've enjoyed it or not enjoyed it, that doesn't matter. But there is something called follow-up etiquette. What I mean by that is just send an email and say, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. Thank you for giving me a chance to try and impress you so that I can further myself. No, it is not sucking up. You're not sucking up. You are being smart and you are branding yourself. You're actually showing that you've got good breeding, you've got a good upbringing, and that you do actually have manners. Because I think a lot of people have lost their manners nowadays, and there's a lot of arrogance and a lot of pushing around where there doesn't need to be, and people have just become complacent. So it's nice to be able to get an email saying, thank you for giving a damn. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me and answer my questions and ask me questions and trying to help me move forward. It is very much appreciated. Now, you also need to realize there's something that you can use, which is actually really, really nice. It's called the STAR method. I said to you earlier on in this presentation that, it's important to tell a story. So what I mean is, you need to set a scene. So create the situation. There then has to be a task. So you describe your challenge. What happened? What was the issue? Now you're going to action it. So explain, what did you do in order to fix it? What was the result? You share the outcome. So 10-1, I would like for you to share an outcome that is that was solved, something that there was a challenge and you solved it. It's not always the case, but I think when you respond and you say, so this was my situation, this is how I dealt with it. Although it did not work in the first time, it did work later on because I changed this or I did that. That is something that is impressive. So, people like to see that you are thinking, you are proactive, you want to deal with challenges, and you're prepared to take the time to think and deal with it and actually find an outcome, whether it's you alone, whether it's you with a team. Okay, so it shows that you are motivated and that you want to move forward and that you want to do something for the company, which is exemplary. It's important as well. Now, when the person first meets you, when the interviewer first meets you, okay, yes, you can do the whole clothing thing, you can look beautiful, speak beautifully, but we also now need a 10-second self-introduction. So you're going to start with your name, your background, what is your key strength, and exactly why you're here. So for example, I am Michelle. Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm a final year engineering student with leadership experience in such and such, and I'm really excited to learn more about your company. It's very quick. It's short, sweet, to the point. I think the more concise and the clearer the sentences are, the better. I think if you talk and talk and talk, people don't like that. Be short, sweet, to the point. Be mindful of what you're saying and how you're saying it, and be professional in the way you say it. Now, obviously, you are going to get questions that are difficult and that we are, we find it a bit tricky to respond to. Don't worry. It's not always tricky. You need to take a step back, take a breath, okay? Show that there is weakness. You show awareness and show that you have a growth plan. Everyone has a weakness and it is okay. I think, an employer doesn't want to see that you're strong in every possible avenue, because if that's the case, why are they hiring you? Then you should be running the company. Instead, what they want to see is that this person has a weakness here. They know there's a weakness, but they are trying to overcome it. There is a plan on how to develop and how to move past this weakness. You also need to show that you have future goals. If there is forward thinking and looking to the future, you've got to show them that you're aligning with the opportunity. You must be realistic. You can't go and sit in front of them and say, no, in 5 years' time, I want to be running the company. And no, that's not it. When it comes to your future goals, be real. Actually be real with everything. Do not be fake. Show them what you really want. And I know sometimes it can be a little bit daunting because, we're for all intents and purposes, we are worried that we are not going to get the position that we're wanting. We are not going to get the position that we are now interviewing for. So I would rather be realistic, tell them where I want to be in 5 years' time, for example, a year time even, try and align with them. And when it comes to salary as well, focus on your value. Focus on what you've done, where you've been. Negotiate. Be open-minded, but do not undersell yourself. Okay? And do not give yourself away. Remember, I said earlier, we need to remember that when we're answering difficult questions, we have to pause. Think about the way you want to respond to questions, and then have an answer in mind, and then you're going to respond. So the power of pause and nonverbal confidence is a really, really important aspect as well. You need to realize that your presence is speaking louder than what you're saying. The interviewer is able to read you very well. She's looking at, or he is looking at, your facial expressions, your movement of your arms, your legs. Are you nervous? Are you closed off? And I think you need to be very aware of of those sorts of things. So So, yes, look at your controlled gestures, upright posture always, and make sure that when you speak, it's at a moderate pace. So, at the end of the day, just what I'm saying to you is take your time when you speak. Think of what you're going to say. Control your body. Make sure that when you're sitting, you must be in an upright position. When you walk into the room, look the person in the eye. Now, I know it's not in everybody's culture to look people straight in the eye. See who you're meeting with. You need to know exactly who you're meeting with. And that will then dictate. So I want your upright posture, control your gestures, sit up nicely, have a big smile on your face, and show them that you're happy to be there. When it comes to a tricky question, I want you to pause. And as you can see with my friend over here, Mr. Bean, please don't be like him. Don't make the funny faces. Don't, just give yourself a moment. I want you to control your face, control what you're saying, and just be real. Just have a bit of, of an idea of what you'd like to say, and you can prepare before. It's very important to, even prepare a little bit of a dialogue before you go through to your interview. I very often used to tell the kids that used to come to me for sessions that, why don't you say your speech or read to a cat, your little baby brother, a mirror, and it helps them. For us, it's a little bit different. I think when we want to actually prep for an interview, it's very important to be able to, bounce ideas and, just put stuff down together with somebody that you trust, whether it's a friend, a colleague, a spouse, a partner. It doesn't matter. As long as it's somebody that you can trust, that is there with you, and that will be able to call you on, and say to you, I think you'd rather sit like this here. Maybe say this here. Don't smile like that here. You're looking a little bit weird. And I think everybody needs somebody like that. So if it is a possibility, it is a really, really good thing to do. I know it is not always possible, but it's a massive help. Have we got any questions so far? Okay. So naturally, we realize that confidence is building on our success. So the more confident you are, and you can see that there's this feedback loop that has been created. The more confident you are, and the more you prepare, the easier it becomes. So firstly, you've got preparation for your interview. The more you prepare, the more confident you are. This confidence is going to improve on your delivery in front of the interviewer. Now, the more you improve your delivery, the better your delivery becomes, and it creates that positive feedback that you're wanting. The positive feedback that comes now will increase your confidence. So it's like a cycle that keeps on moving on and on and on. And I think it's really important that we're not worried about sitting in front of somebody and asking for a position, or sitting in front of somebody and being interviewed for a position. I know a lot of us are terrified of having to do that, and it doesn't need to be that way. I think the more positive you are, the more open you are, and the more you actually prepare. The preparation is the key. The easier it becomes for you. Know what you want to say. Know how you want to say it. you have to have a goal in mind. The goal, obviously, and please God, is getting the position, is getting the job. But in order to get there, you need to show that you've worked. You need to show that you do belong. So, like I said at the beginning of the session, those results, you can look at yourself here and see how you scored. If you got between 10 to 24, we know that we need a bit of improvement. You had significant gaps in your confidence, maybe your preparation, even your professionalism. You need to focus on the fundamentals first. Punctuality is an issue. Work on that. Your research, introduction, your etiquette. Seek coaching or peer feedback. I think, these are things that you can definitely work on. And we shouldn't get to this position because generally, if you are being called to an interview, you know that you have to prep. You know you have to be there at a certain time. Do your research. Make sure you have the correct etiquette. And if you need a little more assistance from somebody, from a coach, from your colleagues, ask for it. Don't be scared to ask for help. It's not a weakness. The next level up, if you got between 25 and 34, it means you're developing. It's okay. You need a little more practice on interview basics, maybe your self-introductions, your storytelling, professional etiquette, that sort of area needs to be worked on. You can deal with this through role play, and mock interviews are recommended. It works really well. I've done it with a lot of my clients, and they love it, and it helps them immensely. And I think also, that professional etiquette, the moment you walk in the door, you need to realize that interviewer is looking at you from top to toe. So if you get those few seconds perfectly down pat, then you really have done very, very well. The next level is between 35 and 44. You're good. You're actually pretty good at interviews. You've got solid interview skills. There might be a few small gaps. For example, focus on, and you can work through things like focusing on refining your STAR examples. Maybe tricky question handling, your online presence might be an issue or a little bit of an issue. So there's, a little bit that you can clean up and work on. It's not serious. And 45 to 50, if you got that, it's phenomenal. You're very confident, you're prepared, you're professional. Keep working through your STAR stories and maintaining strong presence. And you might actually think about mentoring your peers because, not everybody is great at interviews. And if you can give tips and if you can help somebody else, invariably it will help you improve as well. I find that helps me too. So I can really recommend that. Have you got any questions so far? Okay. So just to give you a couple of take homes that I found, beneficial, you need to realize this qualification that you are working through, it will get you in the door because you're getting the results. But when it comes to your interview skills, that is what is going to get you the job. You need to make sure you prepare properly because your success actually depends on it. It mustn't be something that you're going to play with. It's going to be your future. You need to make sure that this is the road that you want to travel and be confident about it. Remember, please be respectful. You must show reliability and your representation. Tell a story that makes you memorable. Remember, use your STAR method. And please, just don't be a Mr. Bean. Thank you, guys. I really, really appreciated your time, and thank you for listening to me and for inviting me. Have you got any questions? Is there anything that you would like to ask me?
Okay, thank you so much, Michelle. I do see a couple of questions in the chat. Do you guys want to unmute your mics? Are you able to unmute your mic, Yolanda? Okay, I think she can't unmute her mic, so I'll just read off her question. She says, what if your application is internal? Do you still have to tell something about the company? Good question.
Can you elaborate on that?
So I think she basically says, what if you have applied for an internal position in the company that you are working for?
Okay.
And maybe there's a question that arises that tell us something about the company. I doubt that they would ask you to.
They already know you. They know your background. They know what you're about, and they can see that you are very willing and that you, for all intents and purposes, that you're there. So I think it's just a matter of seeing if you fit in a different department. That is what it's about. And like I said at the beginning of this class, remember, the interview is not about grilling you and pushing you down and making you feel scared. An interviewer wants to see if they fit with you, if your personalities fit, if you can work together. Does that answer your question, Yolanda?
Just give us a thumbs up, Yolanda. All right, I think we can move on. For that question, Yolanda, you are our first prize winner for engagement. Please do email me your contact details as well as your closest campus. Okay, we move on to the next question. Terrence says, "Hi, can I ask a question? If I got an interview coming up, for an example, I'm in Kimberley, but the interview is in Pretoria. May I also be interviewed? May I
ask to be interviewed by Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the issue. I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. What I'd like to know from you, Terrence, is, let's say you get the position. Would you move from Kimberley to Pretoria? That's a yes or no answer. If your answer, okay, great. So, look, I understand that there's an issue with petrol and travel, etc. I don't think it's a problem if you ask to be interviewed online, but what you will explain to the person, to the interviewer, is you say to them, look, I am currently staying in Kimberley. My desire is to work at the company with you, and I'd like to show you that we are a good fit. Is it at all possible to be interviewed online first? If you would like me for another interview, or if you are happy with me, I will move to Pretoria in order to be in the business, in order to work with you. So I think we have to be realistic that you are not there. I'm not going to say to you, get in a car and go, because it is not always possible. And I think being without a job, you don't have the finances in order to get back and forth. And if you don't have if you don't have the money to get back and forth, and if you don't get the position, then you're going to feel bad and you're going to feel like it's a waste of time, and which I can completely understand. So will the interviewer. So I think if you set everything straight from the get-go and you say that you are not currently staying close to Pretoria, but your intention is to move to Pretoria as soon as there is confirmation that you have this position, then I think you will be okay. But ask first. All right. Does that answer you? Are you happy with that response? What are the
Can
good?
we just get? Yeah, we got a couple of questions coming in. Okay, there we got confirmation from Terrence. Yeah, the next question, Desiree asked, what are the good common questions you can ask in an interview?
So, I mean, we always ask about time off. Well, don't put the time off or the holidays right in the beginning. I think that will be in your contract. But, things like you can ask things about the culture, what they do in the different departments, how people work nicely together, if they work well together. Whenever I have an interview, I like to know that the culture in the company is positive and that it is not a toxic environment. I think that is something that you need to really bear in mind and you need to know first, because there are so many instances when people go into a company, they get the job that they want, but there is an issue with toxicity, and eventually you have to leave, and we need the job. So I think just be careful of that. That is your main question. You can ask about dress sense, what you need to wear. Is there a specific uniform, or do you have overall? How does it work? You can ask about hours if you really want to. But yeah, I think it's important to also listen to what the interviewer says to you, and because I find that when the interviewer speaks to you, you get a lot of information about the company, about the person. Are you happy to be with the person? Are you, is this person cold? Is this person too busy to talk to you? You need to gauge that, and you'll gauge that very, very quickly with the interviewer. So yeah, those are a few of the questions that you can ask. Yeah, like I think also maybe expectations of you. Okay, does that help? Okay, Danae. Are we happy to move on to the next question, or is there something that you still need a response to there? Okay, cool. What if it's your first time being interviewed and you have to tell them your experience? What if you don't know what skills you have yet? Okay, so I know it's very difficult when we come from university or college and we have an interview and we go straight into the business. I find that it's important to be open and honest. But at the same time, we need to realize that, sometimes when it's the first job and first time being interviewed for a job, then we do stand the risk of being of them taking advantage because you are a newbie. But the positive side is that you will be trained. Somebody will be with you, they'll show you how to do certain things, and they will give you time, and they'll help you out. So I think you don't need to worry about the first time being interviewed. The most important thing is that you're open and you're honest, and that you respect yourself enough to not be taken advantage of. And yeah, once you walk out of that interview, you need to just take a moment to think, and yeah, see if this is what you want still, or if it isn't what you want. Maybe there's something else out there. But first and foremost, you're going to go and you're going to ace your first interview, and you're going to enjoy yourself. And really, I mean it. Go and enjoy yourself. Be professional, but enjoy the interview. Ask questions if you want. Don't talk too much about yourself unless the interviewer is asking about you. It's not a date. Does that answer your question? Okay. Does it count against you if you ask the interviewer to repeat a question? So, here's my issue. The interviewer will want to know that you are 110% plugged in and that you are concentrating. If you ask the interviewer to repeat the question, then the interviewer will possibly think that your mind is somewhere else, not where it should be, meaning right in front of me, concentrating on the interview. Or the other aspect might be that you've got listening problems, or you're not able to hear properly. If you're not able to hear properly, that is a completely different story. But I think if you feel that you're at risk of asking the interviewer to repeat the question, maybe write it down as you go along. Just say, sorry, I'm just taking notes as we go along, if you're okay with that. And I don't think it would be an issue at all. I think the interviewer would be quite happy to see that you're taking notes in inverted commas, and it's actually it's quite proactive. Are you happy with that? Are you happy with that response? Jessica, just give me a thumbs up. Or should we move on to the next one? Okay. In the interviews, can they eliminate those scenarios that make me sweat a bit? Can you elaborate? What sort of scenarios what sort of scenarios worry you, Babawa? I know that an interview is very scary for a lot of us. But the only way to face your fear is to walk through it and to deal with it. So if you take those scenarios and those questions that are uncomfortable and make you sweat, you need to prepare for those ones first. Go and prepare for those difficult questions before you go to the interview, because you don't always know what they're going to ask in the interview. Like, I can give you questions that they would ask, but it's never a cut and dry checklist that they will ask us. So my advice to you, Babalwa, is they will not eliminate the scenarios that make you sweat. It is a better idea to go and sit with those difficult questions that you really hate and sit and think about them and prepare. Work through them on your own, and you'll see. You'll become a lot more comfortable with them, and interviews you'll actually start to enjoy them. Does that help? Cool. When they ask, how much must we pay you, and the post is internal, how must one answer that question? Yeah, the Andres, the payment question is always an issue, because we have to have we've got to have a bit of a balance, right? So we can't ask for too much, and we can't undercut ourselves, because it means that we don't respect ourselves sufficiently. So, but when you're using a negotiation tactic, you always go a little bit higher, so that figure that you have in your mind of how much you'd like to be paid, eventually that is what they will pay you. So best thing to do is aim high, a little bit higher. I'm not saying through the roof. I'm saying, let's say you're asking for 20,000 in your mind. You want 20,000. Asking for 25, 27. And you'll see they'll break you down a little bit, and you never know. You might actually, like if you say 27, they might actually say yes. You never know. So go a little bit higher. Have your figure in your mind that you're wanting to be paid, and it's a negotiation tactic. Is that okay? Are we happy so far? Okay, cool. Is it
Michelle?
okay? Yeah, hi.
Yes, I am just a little time conscious. We do have lots of questions coming in, but our webinar is going to come to an end.
No,
I saw one question that said, I'm just trying to, could you please share an example of tell us about yourself? Do we have maybe one brave person who could say they know a perfect intro of tell us about yourself? That would be our second prize winner this evening. Is there any brave soul here who would like to answer that? Could you please just share an example? You don't have to tell us where you work. You can maybe create. It's okay. But as long as you got the format or the structure of tell us about yourself in an interview, in a job interview, to be specific. You can raise your hand and we will unmute your mic. I mean, everyone is able to unmute their mics, actually. Do we have a person? Okay, Michelle, I think they're a little shy this evening.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Everyone's just tired from a long week.
I'm sure. So look, I mean, at the end of the day, just be open and honest. I think you need to share the positive about yourself, but again, show them that you're proactive, and that give them a reason that you're happy to be there. Yes, Samila.
Yes, we do have a hand up. Perfect. You can unmute yourself, Samila. Go on. Hi, Samila. We can hear you.
Okay. No. Okay.
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 Hi,
My name
Samila.
is Somila Jubele. I am coming from East London. I am 20 years of age and I am doing my higher certificate. I'm in the middle of doing my higher certificate in marketing. I don't have any work experience for now. The only work experience I have, I was doing a promo for other companies, and I have experience at broadcasting with a diploma. The only thing that I can assure you that I am good in communicating with people. I serve people, customers with a bubbly face. I'm good in smiling. I bring only the best thing on the company.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so, Mila. That was not lovely. You're going to be our second prize winner. Please contact me via my email address. Just let me know your closest campus and your cell phone number so we can call you to pick up your lovely gift, okay?
Sure. I don't know if there's any other questions that you would like answered. I know that you said that there's quite a lot. They're welcome to get in touch with me, and I'm happy to, happy to assist. I'm really happy to assist further. If they need classes, whatever they need, I'm really happy to help.
Yes, definitely. So ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our webinar. I see Danae and Andres in the chats. They also submitted, they tell us about yourself. So you two, our third and fourth prize winners, do contact me on my pinned email address. Contact Michelle. Michelle, how do they get a hold of you?
Okay, let me put my email address. But they can also contact me via. I'll give my cell address, cell number as well.
Okay, perfect. And ladies and gentlemen, do also know that Regent, under our employability unit, we do have an AI tool. It's called the Interview Simulator, where you can go on there, practice a mock interview with a robot in inverted commas. And you will get a comprehensive feedback, areas where you can improve on, and you can also download that feedback. Okay, so I also posted a link for the website. Go on there, register on the employability site using your email address, your student email address, and you'll be able to access all the vast services that are on there, as well as the recording of this webinar will also be posted there later on. Okay, Michelle, your cell phone number.
Thank you. There's my email address and my cell number. So if they do need a bit of assistance, they're welcome to get in touch.
Fantastic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's call it an evening. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Michelle, for a lovely presentation. We're hoping to meet each other again next year. Good luck for your exams, everyone.
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Have a good one. Be well.
Thank you and good night.
Good night. Thanks.